Hi everyone. In this video, we'll try to learn self join. So we have spoken a lot about joins, right? Inner join, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join. So majorly these joins are being used, right? Majorly these four joins are used, but there are a lot of other joins also. So let's talk about them so that if somebody is asking you on that for your interview purpose, so you should be able to answer them, right? So self join. What is self join? Self join means we are joining the same table to get the data in a certain scenario, right? So we have to understand the scenario that where we can apply a self join, right? So we have the same table, the employee table. I hope you're able to see on your screen. So in this employee table, we have the employee number. We can also call it as employee ID. So we have this employee number, and then we have manager ka number, right? We have this employee number and manager ID. Now we just want to see that who is the manager for which employee. So I only want two column in the output, right? I only want two column in the output, that who is the manager for this particular employees, right? But if you observe one thing, your manager ID is also an employee number, right? The manager IDs, they are also an employee number. For example, Black, right? The employee name is Black and his employee number is 6798. And what is the manager ID for him? The manager ID for him is 7839, right? 7839. Now where is 7839? Over here we have 7839 as King. So King is the manager for Black, right? One more example, we have Jones. Joan का ID है 7566, right? Now who is the manager ID, or what is the manager ID for Jones? We have manager ID for Jones is 7839. Again 7839 is King. So King is the manager for Jones. So what we want is, we want who is the manager for this employee and their respective name, So ultimately the employees, they are only the manager of these employees, right? That means this manager ID and this employee number are same, right? Belongs to this column only. So some of the employee numbers are here, they are as manager, but I want in the output employee name and their respective manager ka name. We do not have any such column called manager ka name, the name of the manager. We have manager ID. So in this case, you can apply a self join to get the employee name and to get the manager name, to get the employee name and to get the manager name, right? All right. So now if you try to see the scenario, in which case I can apply a self join. If I have the same detail available on the same table, if I have the details available on the same table, like employee number and manager number, and which is almost same, and if I have that scenario that I want the employee ka name and the respective manager ka name, and if I have same column detail on the same table, then I can apply a join on that column, right? So what is the assignment? Same is the assignment that we have. Retrieve the employee name and their manager name in the output. We only want to see the employee name and their manager name in the output. So that data is available in one table. So there is no need to apply join on two different tables. Both the data on which you will join, both the columns are available on the same table, right? So how could we structure this query so that we can get the employee name and their manager name in the output? We will be using inner join only to solve this query, but since we are joining on the same table, that is known as self join, because we are joining exactly on the same table, and we are joining with the same table because all the data is available on the same table. So if you're joining on the same table, that will become self join, right? The self join can happen when we have two columns in a table that have the same data, two columns but same data, but they represent different things, right? So let me copy this query and let me go to the SQL developer. So this is the query that we have pasted in the SQL developer. What we want ename and again ename column, and we have set from empe comma empm, where e dot mgr is equals to m dot employee number, where e dot mgr is equals to m dot employee number, right? This is the query that we have written. Now you can see that we have the same table and we have given it as two different aliases. So we can say from empe comma empm, right? empe comma empm. That means two different name but the same table, and that's the reason you are saying e.ename comma m.ename. All right. Now is this a join? Yes, it is a join. Previously you have seen certain different kind of join, right? Or this different kind of syntax you must have seen like this. Select, for example, e.ename comma e.salary comma d.location. Now for example, I want to repeat these three columns from empe, and then you said inner join dept, and then if you're joining on the column, you said on keyword on e dot dept number is equals to d dot dept number. Now you are using an on keyword, right, to join in between two columns, and you are using a keyword called inner join. That is one way of joining two tables. Now this is also another way of joining two tables. This syntax is something different and this syntax is something different, but eventually you're joining two tables, or eventually you're doing a join. Now what is there in this syntax to analyze, right? In this syntax I am not specifying any keyword, right? I am simply placing a comma from empe comma empm. So this is known as comma syntax join. You can also join two tables with a comma, right? But if you are doing a join on comma syntax or with the help of comma syntax, you should not use on keyword, or you cannot use on keyword. In this case, in this scenario, you have to use where keyword, you have to use where clause, right? So in this case you have to use where clause, but in this case you have to use on keyword. I hope the difference is clear. Now if I have to make this join as a comma join, as a comma syntax, I can do it. You can just simply place a comma between two tables, and instead of on keyword I have to say where clause, right? This is how you have to join with a comma syntax. Let us try to run this query. Now we do not have a, right? So we have a cell column, not salary column, right? So let me run the query, and we are getting these three columns with a comma syntax, but this is not a recommended one. But in self join you can use this comma syntax. So let me run this query and you will be getting the output. This is the employee ka name and this is the manager ka name, right? Now if you want to give a different column name in the output, you can say m.ename, and I can say manager underscore name. This is just an alias that I have given for this column. So I can give alias to a table also, and I can give alias to a column also, right? So this is employee ka name and this is manager ka name. I hope this concept is clear. So what is self join? Eventually self join is joining the same table with a different alias name, right? On which condition you should do a self join? You should do a self join when you have the common column available on the same table but with different name, employee number and manager ID. दोनों column में data same है but they are with different names. All right. So thank you so much for watching. In the next video we'll try to learn cross join. Till then, happy learning.